Good morning. It's Barbara. It's chilly outside and it's so blustery and blowy that I'm feeling chilly. Good morning. It's Barbara. Thank you for joining me for coffee. Whew. It is chilly out there and I felt like, oh, I'm going to wear my turtleneck. So I did. Today's are days why I think my next sweater might be, well, my next sweater is probably going to be my Advent sweater, but my next non-Advent sweater might be another one of these, maybe, if I have enough yarn. If I have enough of that gorgeous yarn in the Scream color from Shriek from Benta of Arctic Crafts. Excuse me. I'll make another one in that bright, gorgeous color. Thank you, everyone who came yesterday. We had such a nice visit and such a nice crafting afternoon for me, but evening for some people and morning for others. And thank you so much for coming. It was so wonderful to see you all. Thank you, Valerie, again for your lovely hostessing. And we have scheduled our December Saturday craft Zoom craft together for the 10th, December 10th. So I hope you can join us. It'll be at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just to put pressure on Megan to come. Because 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is 7 in the morning on Sunday in New Zealand, and she normally works on Sundays, but she can come for a little while before work. Anyway, I hope you can all come. We had people from all over, and it was so lovely to see everybody, and thank you so much. And, you know, we have lots of interesting conversations, not just about yarny things, but lots of yarny things. Advice, pattern advice, discussions, book discussions, all kinds of things. So, but I told a big fat lie yesterday. Dogs just started barking their fool heads off. So I told a lie yesterday. I was talking about my blanket, how it was going. I told you, wasn't it yesterday, where I said, oh, let me measure it just to be sure. So this is how much I have done. I'm just curious how much that is. I have to get organized. My stuff is so disorganized. I have a gajillion measuring tapes. I had trouble finding one last night. All right. So I have done... Oh, more than I thought. 40 inches of length. And I was gonna go take you to measure it on the bed, and it was downstairs at the time, so I was too lazy to go down. But I did measure it on the bed. Now, yesterday in our craft together, I said, I am not Penelope. I am not tearing this out again. If it's wrong, I'm just plowing through. Well, it turns out you can call me Penny. I started over last night again for the third time. I put this blanket on my bed, and I have no idea what happened the last time I measured it and started over. I cannot explain how I went so wrong. I literally can't even imagine how I could have gone so wrong. But I put this blanket on, and once again, it was horribly oversized. Now, there was a reason I was going to try it on the bed, and that was because I had some idea it was too big. Part of the reason I had an idea it was too big is that as I was, you know, after I did my color rows, I would have on my old blanket, you know, I would still have color left on my old blanket and I'd have to wind it off. Well, it didn't feel like I was winding off nearly as much as I would have expected in my non-calculation. It just didn't seem like I was winding off very much. So it was horrifying, not horrifying. It was disappointing to see how big it was, but it wasn't such a big shock because in the back of my mind I've been thinking, I don't know. Anyway, so I tried it on the bed and it was way too wide. And then I thought, well, you know, I did shorten it a little bit, but clearly it was a very small, I mean, I might have only shortened it 6 inches, the width. Anyway, so I turned it the other way on the bed thinking, well, you know, if I had a lot of length, you know, I can make it as wide as I want it, because I don't want it, you know. Anyway, it was too big that way too. I mean, the bed is square. So I restarted my blanket last night. I got on YouTube and watched 2 or 3 people do a foundation change, so it's nice and stretchy. And I'm almost through the second row of my cream color, which is how I'm starting. I just have this much. I had stopped in the middle of a cream row, and so I need to do this much, and then I'm starting a color. And by my calculation, when I have finished doing 4 rows of color on my new blanket, I should still have almost an entire row of color left on the old blanket that I will need to wind off. Because this chain, and I took it upstairs and Dennis and I measured and we decided it was good. Of course, I did that the last time, but apparently I'm not very good at that. I didn't have Dennis there the last time. This new blanket is 40 inches smaller than this blanket. 40 inches. That's how far off my second attempt was. And I crocheted 40 inches of length at that wrong size. So I almost I was going to say I almost gave up on the blanket altogether, but that's not true. That's not really true. It would have been a logical thing to do. But actually it never occurred to me to do that. I don't know why I was going to say it did. But I just decided that, I mean, this is a long-term project. Well, and if I keep restarting it, it'll never get done. And the reality is that this blanket is so much less wide than this blanket, which is less wide than the original one, but apparently by only a few inches. The new blanket at this width will take me less time to crochet, even restarting it today, than the rest of this blanket would take me if I just kept going. Because this is literally 2/3, 3/4 the size of this. Anyway. So I lied, I am Penelope. I am going to tear out my blanket every night so that I don't have to marry somebody before Odysseus comes home. If you catch my drift. The good news is that I actually really kind of enjoyed crocheting the new blanket, my new blanket from my old blanket. So this is not a process that doesn't have joy for me. It does. You know, it's really actually quite easy. you know, to just, although I was looking forward to like picking a color, it is really easy. It's like, this is like a giant cone or something where you don't ever have to change the yarn. You don't have to think about it, you know. The other thing is that it's cold here, as you saw, and windy, and it feels chilly. And so this blanket will be on my lap while I'm crocheting this blanket. So that will be cozy and lovely. This is what I'm telling myself. Let's hope it works. But the reality is that crocheting on this blanket has been the only crafting that I've been doing for the last couple weeks. And it's soothing to me, and it's easy. It's a little, it's like the crochet version of a boxy to just sit there and, you know, and until my hand gets tired or my arm gets tired, you know, I can do this. So here's my blanket. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe when I tried that on that bed last night. I'm like, OMG, what am I gonna do? And the answer is starting over. So this old blanket is 150 inches, and this one is 110. We have a king size bed. It's still gonna hang over. And as Megan pointed out, there'll be bodies in the bed, and you gotta have, you know, enough blanket for the hump of the bodies. 110 is a generous blanket. I think the king size beds are like 78 inches. You know, so this has, or 72 even. So this is gonna have 20 inches down on each side, and I have tall mattress and box springs, so it's going to look really beautiful in 10 years when it's finally on the bed. I honestly can't believe it either, to be, you know, to be perfectly frank. So I understand your whatever your reaction is a reasonable reaction to this. OMG. Anyway, so that's how my day was. I had a wonderful, wonderful time talking to you. It was so much fun. And I'm looking forward to February. December 10th. And, yeah. Oh, and tomorrow I don't think there's going to be a vlog, because tomorrow is the day I'm going to make one more try to go visit my parents. So, so there will not be any vlog. So maybe I will have some color on my blanket by the time I talk to you again on Tuesday. I know. Crazy, right? Anyway, it's cozy under my blanket while I crochet, and it brings me, you know, comfort, and there you go. It is what it is. But I do feel a little foolish for not trying it way sooner. But I did try it right after I made my chain, and I obviously didn't do, you know, because when I'm doing the chain and thing, I'm not counting or anything, you know. So anyway, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be cozy and warm while I work on it. And I wasn't expecting it to be done for years, so it's going to meet my expectation. Meanwhile, please take good care of yourselves. Please, 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 please stay safe and stay sane.